Ladies and gentlemen, Colonel Bill Ackman will now come forward and address our graduating class.
Good morning and welcome. It's an honor to see so many families that have joined us today. 7.5 weeks ago, you entrusted us with our nation's greatest treasure, your loved ones. They've been through a tremendous transformation, and I know that you are just as proud of them as we are. Whether you're a family, friend, or mentor, I'd like to personally thank you for your service, because without the guidance, love, support, and mentorship that you have delivered over the last years, many of these airmen would not be standing here today on the cusp of graduating from basic military training and joining the world's greatest Air Force. So thank you. I'd like to take a moment and talk about air power and describe how these airmen will deliver success for our nation in the future battle space. The setting is 3 years from now. A hostile government has seized an uninhabited island that historically has belonged to an ally of the United States. This rocky and barren piece of land lies in a strategic location, and, if occupied by enemy aircraft and missile system, poses a threat to our partners in the region and our homeland. The enemy has begun building a runway, and the senior U.S. leadership has decided the time has come to take military action. Under cover of darkness, a special forces team infiltrates from the sea, and with the support of an AC-130 gunship overhead, repels the enemy and returns the island to its rightful owner. Now, the news story that you're going to hear the next day won't tell the full story of how airmen enabled that operation. So I'd like to pull the curtain back a little bit and explain how these airmen are going to deliver air power on behalf of our nation. 8 hours before that team hits the beach, the sun is setting on a friendly airbase in a foreign country 1,000 nautical miles from the target. A gunship crew is alerted and they prepare for their mission. A medical team and aviation resource specialists have confirmed that the crew is good to fly. Transportation team takes that crew to a dining facility where they get a hot meal and prepare for the long night ahead. While they eat, their gunship is swarmed with a team of technicians who are experts in their craft. Maintenance personnel review every system of the aircraft and confirm repairs that were completed during the day. Fuel specialists service the aircraft. Ammunition personnel transport and load the required munitions for this particular mission. The gunship crew is then shuttled to an ops center where they receive a weather and intelligence briefing. They check out their life equipment, which has been expertly prepared. They're then transported to the flight line. They talk to the crew chief. They get a final status of the gunship. They climb aboard, start the engines, check their systems, contact the tower, get clearance to taxi, and begin to move. Now, while that gunship is preparing for takeoff, the tower tells them to hold in place because a perimeter sensor has detected the presence of an unmanned aerial system, a drone, that has breached the border of the airfield with unknown intent. A team of security force defenders rapidly respond. They engage the drone and disable it. As it falls to the ground, the gunship is given clearance to take off. And as it lifts into the darkness, an explosive ordnance disposal team renders that drone safe. Once airborne, that gunship crew now makes contact with supporting aircraft that'll join them in the mission, but will never make the front page the next day. Among them, an AWACS, Airborne Warning and Control Station, a flying radar that will alert the crew to enemy aircraft in the area. An MQ-9 Reaper, remotely piloted aircraft that's been secretly surveilling the target for 12 hours. And a KC-46 tanker that will top off the gunship when it's halfway to its destination. As the gunship receives its fuel from the KC-46 and checks off with the boom operator, they proceed to the target area. They receive a situation update from the MQ-9 sensor operator. They set up an orbit. They arm the weapons, just as that team enters from the ocean. The embedded combat controller and the crew of the gunship now begin a symphony of destruction, with that controller calling in close air support missions to protect his team. Target after target is relayed from the controller to the aircraft, and each request is answered with a mixture of bombs, missiles, and guns. The enemy is thrown into disarray, The ground forces are able to seize key terrain, set up a defensive perimeter, and the gunship is cleared back to base. But the MQ-9 remains overhead, performing its armed overwatch mission. Peace and stability is returned to the region. Now, there are 3 things that I hope you take from that story. First, every step of that mission, every chain in that air power story is absolutely critical for the success of the mission. There are no small jobs in the Air Force, only jobs that don't always get the credit that they deserve. Secondly, each one of those airmen was sustained by an invisible yet powerful network of support from family, friends, and loved ones. All of you, I humbly ask that you continue your service to your nation and support these men and women who are going to change the world for good. Finally, each one of those airmen, each one of those key roles have something in common. All of their careers started right here on this sacred ground. So when you depart today and linger among the aircraft that are assembled here to remind us of our history, I would like all of you to think about what you're going to write in your chapter of the Air Force legacy. I only have one question for you. Are you ready to join the ranks of the world's greatest Air Force?